Welcome to the Patricia Raskin Show, the program that helps you turn obstacles into opportunities, challenges into solutions, and find answers to tough questions. And now, the award-winning powerhouse voice of radio. Here's your host, Patricia Raskin.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show, right here on VoiceAmerica.com, America's Voice. We have been on the air with Voice America for 22 years. I was one of the first hosts on the network, and it's a wonderful network. It's progressed tremendously. There are over 300 shows, at least, and really check them out, because my program really is in line with Voice America's philosophy, which is how do we help people solve their problems? How do we help them turn their problems into solutions and their obstacles into opportunities and make their dreams come true? And today we have on someone, very interestingly enough, who's going to talk about one of the number one ways to do that with our dreams, and that's with money. And my guest today is a prosperity coach. He's written many books. One of them is Infinite Love and Money. Another one is The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, Only the Unconventional Ones. And he just published, or recently in 2018, actually, he published The Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager. But his newest book has been Infinite Love and Money. My guest is Joel Solomon. He is a prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. He's an award-winning TEDx speaker and frequent podcast guest. He's led over 20 workshops teaching the concepts of how to overcome limiting beliefs. He's spoken in many places. He's appeared on TV on many, many podcasts, and has his own hedge fund, which he launched in 2012. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you so much for having me, Patricia. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here today. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, I really do want to talk about money with you. And I want to talk about, I know you go beneath money. You don't talk about, how much do you save? How much do you earn? You talk about the mindsets behind it. So you teach a course on this. You teach a course on how to create money miracles in your life. And so here are the questions that you say to people who want to take the course. So anybody who's listening to this, if you have any of these situations, please listen up carefully. 1, you have debt. 2, you spend more than you make. 3, you wish you knew more about stocks and real estate investing. 4, you want to improve your credit score. And 5, you feel stuck when it comes to money. All right. So what you do is you help people understand this. And you talk about how to change your money mindset. And I think that's really what I want to look at today. And I know that you have 9 principles that discuss this. And certainly one of them is what you believe. So talk about that, Joel.
Thank you, Patricia. And yes, what I teach is mindset and process. And I will tell you, you can have the best processes in the world, the best systems, but if you don't have the right mindset as a foundational principle, those processes are not going to work. And if you can have the best mindset in the world, but if you don't have good strategies and processes, you're going to fall down as well. So let's talk about The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, my second book, which was a bestseller in 2019. And yes, rule number 1 is when you believe. And beliefs are behind everything that you do and how you act. And I will say a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking. Belief is just a thought you keep on thinking. And then it becomes a belief. So check yourself and ask yourself every day, what do I believe about this situation? What do I believe about my money situation? Is it a limiting belief or an empowering belief? See, I was taught growing up, you have to work really, really hard to be rich and successful. Is that limiting you or empowering you? What if you didn't work really, really hard? And by hard, I think most people mean a lot of hours.
Yes, putting in the time.
But I will tell you that that's what I thought. And in 2008, when I became a hedge fund manager at Citi, I started working really hard because it was the first year that I got completely paid for my performance. So if I did really well, the upside was unlimited. And if it
This
did
was
poorly,
Citibank. This was
yeah,
Citibank.
yes. And if I did really poorly, the downside was pretty unlimited. I'd get fired.
Mm.
So I thought that if I worked really, really hard, that I'd be successful. And the first year I started managing money was 2008. I know you're quite young, Patricia, but you may remember 2008. It was not the best year in the stock market.
Right.
The market was down 40%, 40 that year. Financial stocks were down 57%. And those were the only securities that I was invested in.
Mm.
Now, I worked really, really hard. I did manage to generate a small positive return for the bank shareholders that year, but I didn't get a big bonus. And I worked 75, 80 hours a week every week. And I realized that if I continued to work that hard for the rest of my life, may not be able to see my daughters become teenagers. They were 2 and 4 at the time.
Yeah.
So I chose to think and act differently, work smarter. And the 9 money rules came out of that year or a couple of years after, when I started choosing how to act, how to think. And a funny thing happened. The next year, 2009, I made 10 times the money I made in 2007 and worked a third of the hours two-thirds of the hours that I did in 2008.
What did you do differently, Joel?
So number one is I changed my beliefs. My beliefs were work really, really hard and you'll become rich and successful. I chose to believe that I could work smarter and more productively and become rich and successful. That was number one, right? And then 2 was have more fun, be happier.
Right. Your rule 2 is, can my intuition make me money?
So yes, so that's 2. Rule number 3, I'll jump around a little bit. Rule number 3 is, can happiness buy you money?
Right.
Not can money buy you happiness, can happiness buy you money? So imagine if you were ecstatic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you lived that life, I'm pretty sure you'd be prosperous and abundant and grateful too, which is rule number 5. So how can you create more happiness in your life? Write down right now, if you're listening, write down right now, pause, and write down 5 things that make you happy. For me, it's spending time with my daughters. It's writing in my gratitude journal. It's going for a jog or reading, playing some ping pong with my daughters. So what makes you happy unconditionally? I'm not saying, buying the blue convertible Maserati. That may make you happy, but you don't need to spend money to create happiness in your life. Maybe it's listening to an uplifting song or 3 or 5 that I do every morning, or maybe it's meditating. So what is it for you that creates that happy habit? Because I will tell you, happiness can buy you money, because if you're vibrating up here with happiness and joy, that's the same vibration as abundance and prosperity.
I have a question, okay? Because I have a comment about that. If you really love beauty and you love beautiful things and you love to travel and you love quality goods, and that makes you happy, right? And you love going on a trip that's more luxurious than camping, that makes you happy. That requires money, Joel.
Yes, it does. But there are other ways that may be one way for you to be happy, but there are many other ways to be happy. And I'd start with those that don't need, if you don't have the money. I'm assuming the implied scenario was you don't have the money to take a $10,000 trip to Bora Bora.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the money, act as if first, which is part of rule number 1, believing, getting your belief up to have the money come in by checking out the flights to Bora Bora, seeing how much those huts are that you can stay in over the water for a couple of nights, checking out the excursions, see how much frequent flyer miles you need to get there.
So what you're saying is take away that belief of I can never go. I don't have it. I have to take less. I have to camp because I'll never be able to go. Take that belief away and go into possibility of thinking of, you know what? There could be a possibility.
There is absolutely a possibility. And I will tell you, there's an infinite number of ways for money to flow to you. And if you believe, like I believe, that you have to work really, really hard to become rich, then that is your truth.
Yeah.
But there are many, many ways. In fact, we're going to talk about my Money Miracles membership. In the Money Miracles membership, people have manifested or generated money many different ways. And surprise, it's not just from their job. It's not, even if they're an entrepreneur, it's not just from their job. It's been many ways. So belief is critical. Are you taking 3 buses to go from Forest Hills, New York to New Jersey because you believe you're too poor to rent a car or get an Uber? Like, what are your actions? Write down your actions throughout the day as well. Take a note for the next day or 2 or 3 and write down all the actions you're taking. Are you shutting off the light in your room every time you leave the room, even though you're coming back in 20 minutes to turn it right back on?
Yeah.
What is that saying? Is that a limiting belief or empowerment?
It's scarcity thinking versus prosperity thinking.
Correct.
All right. What we're going to do is take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about these beliefs that Joel has written about in his book, The 9 Values That Millionaires Use. Okay. And the next one we're going to talk about is the power of visualization, because that's kind of what you're talking about now. But how do you really see it in your mind's eye? Then we'll get into gratitude and giving. All right. You're listening to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on VoiceAmerica.com, America's Voice. Joel, let's give out your website, please, for people.
It's solidmore.com. So my company name is named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. So LAUR for Lauren, MOR for Morgan. So it's SALAURMOR.com.
Okay. All right. All right, Joel. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Follow Voice America at Facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts. Psych Up Live with host Dr. Suzanne Phillips offers a psychological perspective on coping with common and current life issues. This show addresses topics as varied as marital stress, insomnia, depression, raising teens, campus violence, and building self-resilience. Listen in as Dr. Phillips and her guest experts share the latest in books, findings, and information that will inform and enhance your life journey. Psych Up Live is heard every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel. It's time to unlock some of the best-kept secrets in health, wealth, and happiness. Are you ready to live your life to the fullest and hear insider tips from today's experts? Then tune in to the Forbes Factor with celebrity TV host, keynote speaker, and inspirational icon, Forbes Riley. She's a best-selling author and TV fitness expert, and you know her from QVC and HSN. Now, she brings her expert advice and guests to the Voice America Variety Channel. Tune in live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time and 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the Forbes Factor. We guarantee it will be the best hour of your week.
Get Unchained. Tune in every Wednesday for Unchained TV on the Voice America Variety Channel. Featuring nationally recognized best-selling author, TV journalist, and the founder of the Unchained TV free streaming network, Jane Velez Mitchell. This program takes you inside a trending lifestyle that's the next wave of human evolution. It all starts on your plate. If you want to revolutionize your life, get happier, more energized, then discover the secret. Tune in to Unchained TV, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Streaming live, the leader in Internet Talk Radio, VoiceAmerica.com.
You are listening to The Patricia Raskin Show. If you wish to call into our program today, please call 1-866-472-5788. That number again is 1-866-472-5788. You may also send an email to patricia@patriciaraskin.com. Now, back to The Patricia Raskin Show.
Hi, everyone. We're back. I'm Patricia Raskin, and we are talking about money and prosperity. And my guest is Joel Solomon, who is a prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. His latest book was personal money management bestseller, Infinite Love and Money, with Molly Singh. And then before that, he wrote The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, Only the Unconventional Ones. He's also written Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager. He's an award-winning TEDx speaker. He's also done many workshops. He's been on many media programs. And he's really a wonderful resource for how can we stop struggling and change our mindset around money. All right. So, Joel, let's go back and look out. We've been looking at these 9 principles. And this is in your book, The 9 Money Rules That Millionaires Use. And so we talked about what you believe, how your intuition can make you money, can money buy you happiness? And the next one is the power of visualization. Let's talk about that.
Yes, I did want to mention before we talk about visualization, we mentioned my website. On my website, I give everybody 30 minutes free of prosperity coaching. If any of you who are watching or listening are interested in getting 30 minutes of a powerful, free, no obligation to do anything else, and that's absolutely how it works. 30 minutes of powerful prosperity coaching. Just go to my homepage, solomore.com, to sign up. So let's talk about visualization.
And just spell that one more time, Solomon.
It's SALAURMOR.com. My company name is named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. So let's talk about visualization. And I will tell you, I think visualization gets a bad rap because in certain books, like The Secret, people thought, okay, how is this going to work? I'm going to just sit at home and think and close my eyes, and then the money's going to flow. And I say, no, that's not how it works. When you visualize, after you visualize, you will be taking inspired action because you're feeling more confident. You're believing in the process more. So let's talk about the 6 steps plus the bonus step to visualizing. So step number 1 is to pick a time that you're going to do it daily. Maybe it's right after you wake up. And then the second is to pick a place. I wouldn't do it right in bed, right after you wake up. You may fall back to sleep, and don't do it right before you're going to sleep. You will fall back to sleep. So pick a time, pick a place, pick the amount of time, 3 to 5 minutes. I recommend not doing more because you want to get up and take the inspired action. Step number 4 is to write down before you actually sit and visualize. Write down 3 dreams and desires. So these are at least, you're going to be thinking about one of these or maybe 2 during the visualization, but I wouldn't link them. I wouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to be driving my dream car to my dream house with my dream spouse. Pick one, focus on one. And step 5, I think, is probably the most important step. I quote from Wayne Dyer's book, Wishes Fulfilled: make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So how does it feel to be in that dream house with the 10 bedrooms, 6 baths, 10 acres, indoor outdoor pool, full jacuzzis, 4-car garage, the tennis courts, swimming pools, the pool boy, the chef, the butler. How does it feel? Really get into the feeling when you're visualizing, and also getting into all the senses. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Getting into all those 5 senses. And then step 6, for me, is kind of difficult, but maybe for you it's not. Picture yourself in the scenario. You're in the pool swimming, or you're eating that amazing gourmet meal cooked by your 5-star chef. No, but looking down, you're seeing yourself putting the food in your mouth and smiling and just being so appreciative. So here's the bonus step. Think beyond the dream. You have a dream to have your business generate $1 million of annual after-tax earnings each year. What would you do after the first year that you've generated the $1 million annually after tax? You're celebrating at Cipriani's on 42nd Street in Manhattan with 50 of your closest friends, and you got the glass of the Dom Perignon with the other 50 people, and you're giving a speech. So grateful for all those 50 people who are there, because they're your clients, they've supported you, they've made the investment in your programs to get you there, and you're congratulating them and celebrating with them. So it's beyond the dream, it's happened. Right? So think beyond the dream. You already have the dream car, and you're driving it, up 95 here in the Northeast of the United States with your kids, and their hair is blowing in the wind, and they're like, "Dad, I want to drive now. I want to drive. Come on, can I have a chance, please?" So those are the 6 steps plus the bonus step. And again, I recommend taking inspired action after you visualize. What can you do to make that dream a reality today? What baby steps can you take to make that dream a reality today?
And what would be an example of that? What would be an example of a baby step?
So it depends on the dream. You have the goal. The visualization is the $1 million of annual after-tax earnings each year. Maybe reach out to some potential joint venture partners who you can create a $100,000 program with, and you're going to sell it to companies who will pay that. So you only need is 10 companies to generate that $1 million. Or maybe it's a little bit more because you're doing it a joint venture with a couple of people. Maybe it's 20 companies. But take the steps, reach out to people, maybe research the companies that most need your help for what you do. Yeah, so that's rule number 4.
And let me just make a comment on that. What you've been talking about when you say use your 5 senses is feelingization. So it goes beyond the visualization into internalizing the feelings, because our brain doesn't know the difference between whether we're really there or we're not there. It's like virtual reality. That's why we wear the goggles, right? So that we really believe that we're traveling to this place.
Yes. Yeah. The feelings are really powerful. So I say feeling first, manifestation second.
Right. Okay. So the 5th one is it all starts with gratitude.
Yes. Gratitude is so powerful. I believe it's up there with happiness as the highest vibration emotion. And tell you a quick story. It was November of 2006. I was on the Upper East Side with my wife at the time, and we got a call from my mom who said, "It's 105 degrees, and it hasn't gone down since you left." So I asked her, "Did you give her the cold compresses? Did you give her the baby Tylenol?" My mom said yes. So I said, "Okay, we're rushing right home." So on the way home, we were full of fear and worry. I didn't know back then that worry is negative future planning. You think about what you don't want to happen. So think about what you do. But we got home and we took one look at our daughter, Morgan, and realized that, she was quite ill. And so we gave her more cold compresses and baby Tylenol. I put her in a cold bath and the temperature did go down. But when we called the pediatrician, she said if it continues to rise the next day, we should bring her to the hospital. Well, it stayed down on Sunday, but on Monday morning, we brought her in anyway to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician took one look at her, knew her symptoms, and said, get her to the hospital anyway. Well, so Morgan was 9 months old. We brought her to the hospital, and we had one question for the surgeon. Is there anything else we can do? Surgeon said no, and so we had to watch as they brought her into the operating room. I don't remember exactly when the tears stopped flowing, but a couple of hours later, she was out and smiling and happy again. So why do I tell you this story? Because I am so grateful for having a healthy, courageous, beautiful, caring, giving daughter, Morgan. So who can you be grateful for? What can you be grateful for? And I will tell you, this vibration, this frequency of appreciation is so powerful that it's the highest vibration. It will align with abundance and prosperity. So I highly recommend in the morning and at night, writing down 3 things you're grateful for and why.
And it could be, Joel, something that you've talked about, which is very dear and dear to your heart and so important. And everything's important, but I mean, this was a big event, right? That could have turned out a different way. But it could be something very small, right?
Yes.
And we have 1 minute to break, but I'll just share. It just happened to me today. It's little, but it really showed me I was being protected. I do some trainings, and I always call the client at least a week ahead. And it's in 2 days. And I get an email, like the client says, gee, I'd like to check in with you. Well, I'm saying, wait a minute. I always, for some reason, I got it mixed up in the schedule. Even though I marked it that I had talked to them, I hadn't, which is very unusual for me. But they called me. So I called them and I said, I want to thank you so much because usually I do this a week ahead. No problem. He said, blah, 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 blah. But that saved me. And so I look at it kind of the way you do, like, wow, someone was watching over me. Because I might have missed that whole thing because although it was on the portal, it wasn't in my calendar. And I don't know how that happened. And that's a big deal because if I'd missed that webinar, that would have been really not a good thing. So you look at these little things and it was and that's where I say I'm being protected.
Yes. Yeah. Appreciate the little things like I woke up this morning or your health is just
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're talking about money and manifesting money and prosperity in our life. And we're talking about from the 9 money rules that millionaires use. So the next one we're going to talk about is the law of generous giving. And then where is my cash going? And then we have a couple more. So stay tuned. We're talking to Joel Solomon, who is the author of Infinite Love and Money. And also this other book that I've told you about and several others, the 9 money steps or rules that millionaires use. All right, folks, you're listening to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on VoiceAmerica.com, America's Voice, and we'll be right back.
Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today.
Tune in to The Soul of Enterprise, Business in the Knowledge Economy, with co-hosts Ron Baker and Ed Kless. Ron and Ed will show you how to recognize that wealth is created by intellectual capital. It's all in the possibilities that we can create and that are created for us. These possibilities are destined to be discovered by human imagination and through the service of others, creating a brighter future for all of us. The Soul of Enterprise is heard live every Friday at noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Tune in to The Patricia Raskin Show on VoiceAmerica.com every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Time. This is the program that helps you turn obstacles into opportunities, challenges into solutions, and find answers to tough questions with the award-winning powerhouse voice of radio, Patricia Raskin. So tune in and call in to The Patricia Raskin Show, Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on the Voice America Variety Channel.
On Next at the Mic Radio, Voice America producer and host Bonnie D. invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with Voice America's longtime, new, and upcoming hosts. Tune in as she uncovers what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, how they define success, handle challenges, and more, to inspire you to think out of the box and find your own mic. Enjoy Bonnie D's always lively spotlight conversations on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Variety Channel. Ooh, how those lips can talk.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
You are listening to The Patricia Raskin Show. If you wish to call into our program today, please call 1-866-472-5788. That number again is 1-866-472-5788. You may also send an email to patricia@patriciaraskin.com. Now, back to The Patricia Raskin Show.
Hi, everyone. We are back. We are talking about money and prosperity. One of our basic needs, right? Safety and security and stability, which is what money brings us. We have with us today Joel Solomon, who is a prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. His latest book in 2021 was a personal money management bestseller, Infinite Love and Money with Molly Singh. And then in 2019, he published the book we're talking about today, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, Only the Unconventional One. And then he also published Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager, which was also a bestseller. He's an award-winning TEDx speaker. He's a frequent podcast guest. He's been on many different media programs and shares his wisdom and his success strategies. So we're talking about this book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. And he also teaches a masterclass around this, which you can find out about it. And we are now talking about module number 6, which I think is very misunderstood. And that is the law of generous giving. Now, we hear a lot in faith-based organizations about tithing, that we need to give 10% of our income. And I think what happens there is people are afraid when they don't have enough money to pay their rent or pay their groceries, how can they give more? So address that, Joel, please.
So yes, the name of the chapter is, if I give my money away, I have less money. How does that work?
Yeah.
So I will tell you that giving doesn't have to just be about money. You could give your time.
Right.
You could give a smile to a stranger and change a life in a day. You could give a compliment to a stranger. So giving, to be clear, I believe is not just about the money. It can be, and and we talked about this on the break, Patricia. I tell my clients that when you're most feeling scarce or lack, then give. And that by that I mean money. I mean dollar bills or euros or yen or Swiss francs. That's what I mean.
Even if you can't pay your rent or pay for your groceries, Joel.
So, depending on what that can't pay the groceries, it can't pay the rent means, if you're $1 short, then yes, I'll still say give. If you're thousands of dollars of short, then give your time, give your smile, give your compliments. Okay. So it really depends on the situation. If you have retirement monies, because people will say, I have no money. And then I'll hear, well, I do have this $1 million home in the Berkshires, but I can't tap into it. Well, you do have money. So there's different situations. So let's talk more, because Sir John Templeton some say the best investor of the 20th century. He started the Templeton funds with just a few $1,000s in the 1950s. He sold it to the Franklin mutual funds for $1 billion in the 1990s. And he said he hadn't met anybody who hadn't given at least 10% each year over a 10-year period of their earnings to charities, who didn't have massively more wealth at the end of the 10 years than at the beginning.
Wow.
So what is he saying? And can that happen? And I will tell you, money is just energy. That's the quote from the 9 Money Rules millionaires use. Money is just energy. And by putting it out there into the world, it will flow back to you in multiples, with faith and belief. If you believe, back to rule number 1. If you're doing it because you feel like you're required to, like I tell the story in the book about how I'm in Manhattan a lot, and there's a lot of people who are on the subway or different corners of the Midtown Manhattan begging. And so if you're feeling like you're obligated to give, that's a very different kind of feeling. We talked about feelings before in visualization. It's a very different kind of feeling than it is if you're giving from the heart.
Yes. Because
you want to, because you feel that it's appropriate and kind. So it really depends on back to your feeling and why you're doing it. Right? Are you doing it because you feel like, well, I'm required, that's what I'm supposed to do, or I know it's the right thing? And I tell my clients, look, there are billions of people on this earth worse off than you, no matter what your situation is. Even if you can't pay the groceries this week, there are billions of people who don't have groceries to go to to eat, right? Billions. So you're living the dream life. If you're watching this, listening to this, you're living the dream life of billions of people on earth. They would love to trade places with you for even just one day. So this goes back to gratitude.
Because you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have family, you have the things that, the 3 basic needs: connection, stability, security of some sort, and value.
Yes.
Yeah. How does rule number 7, where is my cash going? How does that relate to the law of generous giving?
Well, it's really important to plan, because if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so I think it's really important, I talk about this in the book, to just check. Even if you do it for one day or 1 week, see where your money is going. Am I spending too much on frivolous things? Chocolate, maybe the chai latte, and could be investing that money of $5 a day where the money is working harder for you. I will tell you that you have a relationship with money, whether you know it or not. And think of money as an entity, just like a human being. And if you have a person in your life who you say, oh, I don't care about them, are they going to want to spend time with you? Are they going to want to hang out with you? Well, if you say the same thing about money, I don't care about that, I don't need that.
Yep.
Well, is it going to want to hang out with you? So I say, care about it.
Yeah. Question. What if that latte really brings me joy? Something I enjoy, I savor. Every day I get up and I know I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to go to the coffee shop, and I'm going to get that delicious latte, and it means something to me. Now, what do you say, Joel?
So, yes. So we're back to rule number 3 of the 9 money rules, which is, can happiness buy me money? And if that's bringing you joy and raising your vibration to a level where you're in that frequency of abundance and prosperity, then go for it. Okay. So, and I will tell you, money can flow from a number of different ways. So it's, if it doesn't feel like frivolous, if it feels like happiness, if it feels joyous, then do it. And know that you're putting yourself into a situation where money can flow. Maybe the person in front of you will pay for your chai latte.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you bump into somebody at the coffee shop that creates some abundance and prosperity through a joint venture, networking, or maybe a new client. You're getting out into the world, and you're doing it because of the happiness and joy. So absolutely. And I will also say it is good to know where your money's going. So keep track for a day or a week and see if there's a lot of those kinds of items in there, not just the coffee, but the chocolates and the waters and
the things that maybe don't mean as much.
Right.
All right. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the last 2 rules in the book on millionaires being able to make money. Let's go back and look at the correct title and give that to you correctly. So the name of the book is The 9 Money Rules That Millionaires Use. And Joel also teaches a masterclass in this. So we're going to talk about the last 2 when we come back for our last segment.
They're the most controversial.
Rule number 8 is all about DIY investing, which is do it yourself. And rule number 9 is don't diversify. So this is going to be very interesting for those of you who invest or want to invest. These are very interesting rules. And so I'll just give you a sneak preview. The wealthiest people in the world do not have someone managing their money. They do it themselves. And this is going to be some fantastic tips for you. And then also about not diversifying, which explains why this may be a false belief. So you don't want to miss this segment with Joel Solomon. All right, folks, stay tuned. You're listening to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on VoiceAmerica.com, America's Voice. And today is about money and prosperity and belief. We'll be right back.
A little birdie told me Voice America is on X. Follow us at Voice America TRN.
Did you know that the quality of our daily lives is directly influenced by the design of our built environment? Our homes, our work, the way we move, and where we play are all shaped by the design of our cities. This thought-provoking new show from architect, urban designer, and educator Carrie Penabod examines the complex forces that shape the making of our physical world. Lively conversations with leading experts in a variety of fields engage some of the greatest challenges facing our cities today, including climate change, affordable housing, embedded technologies, infrastructure design, architecture and the arts, urban policy, social mobility, and much, much more. Tune in every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, so that together we can design a better world.
Planning for college? Tune in to Getting In, a college coach conversation for tips, techniques, and insider perspectives. Hosted by Bright Horizons College Coach, a team of former admissions and financial aid officers, the show takes a deep dive on subjects such as choosing the best essay topic, negotiating merit aid, and navigating the Common App. Listeners will learn what really goes into college acceptance decisions from the experts who used to make them. New episodes drop Thursdays on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Today, our 40s sit firmly in midlife. We are starting to feel our place and have many productive years ahead. But now is the best time to plan for our future life. Listen for 45 Forward with host Ron Roel. From retirement to health and technology to caring for our parents, no topic is off the table. We don't have a roadmap to our actual future, but we can start to plan more effectively. Tune into 45 Forward, Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific Time, on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Stimulating talk
gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
all the time. The #1 internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com.
You are listening to The Patricia Raskin Show. If you wish to call into our program today, please call 1-866-472-5788. That number again is 1-866-472-5788. You may also send an email to patricia@patriciaraskin.com. Now, back to The Patricia Raskin Show.
Well, hello, everyone, and we are back, and we are talking about money, often a very hot topic, and often people's favorite topic, and also a very, at times, misunderstood topic. And we are talking to my guest today, Joel Solomon. We're talking about his book. He's written several. This book is The 9 Money Rules That Millionaires Use, and he also teaches a master class in this. Okay. Joel Solomon is a prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. He's the author of Infinite Love and Money, a co-author. He's also the author of The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, which we're talking about today, and Mindful Money Management. He's an award-winning TEDx speaker. He's been on many radio and television shows. He also has his own hedge fund, and he's really walks his talk. So welcome back, Joel.
Thank you so much.
Right. Let's talk about the last 2 rules that you say are the most misunderstood. Number 8, it's all about DIY investing, doing it yourself.
Yes. So before I get into rule number 8, I do want to mention I do have a Money Miracles membership where members can learn all about these rules, a lot more. As you mentioned at the top of the show, if you're struggling with debt, if you have some questions about real estate investing, or you want to learn about stock investing, there's a whole membership community where people are supporting each other. We have a weekly call. We have 7 hours worth of videos and 30 guest experts who have created content so that you can move towards financial freedom quickly. So let's talk about rule number 8, which is DIY investing. And yes, I do believe that most people have a limiting belief, back to rule number 1, that they can't do it themselves. They don't have the time. They don't have the money. And I will say...
Or the expertise.
So, well, you got a prosperity coach to help you. So I'll hold your hand along the way, because I truly believe after 3 to 6 months, after learning my process, you can do it yourself. And so, in fact, in the book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, on pages 152 and 153, I have my 5-step proprietary stock screen. Now, it's quite simple, and there's more to it than just that as well. But it's a start. It can get you to determine and get the odds in your favor so that you're more likely to make more money than the average investor. And it's just a process. But we go back to rule number 1, when you believe. So you have to believe that this process works, and you have to use the process without doubt and without adjusting it in any way. So now I will be very controversial here and will tell you that you've been taught a lie by every financial institution out there who tells you you can't do it yourself. You need an advisor. You need somebody holding your hand for the rest of your life. And I just don't believe that. I know in my heart of heart that's not true. We didn't talk much about intuition, but I've met a ton of people who have amazing intuition when it comes to investing. And they don't need somebody telling them this.
All right. Part of this, and the only reason I'm pushing this along is we only have 5 minutes left, and you have such fabulous material. So the rule number 9, when you said, do it yourself or get it, some guidance, is number 9 is don't diversify. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I will tell you, as a former hedge fund manager, I shut down my hedge fund in 2017. As a former hedge fund manager, I know that my top 5 ideas every year, my top 5 stock ideas, made me 120% of the return, and the other 70 lost me money on average. And this happens in every portfolio. If you look at every single Fidelity, Vanguard, all the mutual funds, the top 5, 7 ideas make them all their money. and then the rest is called diversification. Diversification. Okay.
So you're saying pick 5 things or pick 4 things.
3 to 7. Warren Buffett says if I had my druthers, I would put at least 50% of my net worth in one investment. Wow. Charlie Munger, his right-hand man who passed away last December, said that if you know nothing, diversify.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you, if people have questions, they can write to you. And let's get out your email. And then, because we have 3 minutes left. So I want to ask you for your closing thoughts today, Joel. So your email.
My email is joel@salamore.com. That's SALAURMOR.com. Feel free to reach out with any questions. You can go to my website and schedule that 30-minute free call, salamore.com. And every 6 months, I do the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use course. It's starting again October 1st. This is insane. I know it's insane. It's 9 weeks. It's $99. I'm giving it away because I want people to learn the truth about money.
Isn't that great? That's wonderful. All right. Closing thoughts. What would you like to leave our listeners with?
My closing thought is have faith in your dream. #doubt the doubt. Stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting your dreams. Don't have faith in your doubt. Have faith in the dream and doubt your doubt.
All right. And again, we can find you at salamore.com. All right. I have to tell you, Joel, it's been very inspirational to have you on the program. And some of what you said, as you said, is controversial. It's, counter what we think, but it's certainly part of the prosperity thinking. People can go on your website. They can also contact you for the free 30 minutes, and you teach a course in October, which I think is wonderful. So thank you so much. Stay on with me for a minute. And thanks, Joel. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's been an honor and pleasure to be on the show. I really, really appreciate you, Patricia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Stay on the line for a minute. All right, folks, this wraps up this edition of the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show. Remember, if you are thinking about getting your message out in a broader way, like through a podcast, since I've interviewed over 5,000 people in my career, I can help you. So I help people produce their podcasts, whether I host it or you host it, but I can help you with concept, with delivery, production, which I work with someone else on, and also on marketing, because you have to get your podcast out. Also, contact me for my newsletter, patricia@patriciaraskin.com, so you can see all the great guests I have on the program. Remember, stay healthy, stay happy, get the support you need, and know you can make your dreams come true. Until next time, I'm Patricia Raskin. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of The Patricia Raskin Show. Be sure to join Patricia Raskin and another amazing guest next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have an outstanding week.